Welcome to today's discussion. We're diving into the world of ETFs, specifically the newly launched IMST Bitwise MSTR Option Income Strategy ETF. It's a unique approach to investing, and our guest is here to shed light on its intricacies.
The IMSTF offers a compelling strategy for investors seeking monthly income with managed exposure to MicroStrategy, MSTR.
Managed exposure is key. How does this ETF differ from simply investing directly in MSTR?
Unlike direct investment, IMST uses a covered call strategy, generating income while mitigating some volatility.
A covered call strategy? Can you elaborate on that for our listeners?
It involves selling call options on MSTR, generating premiums. This limits potential upside but protects against downside risk.
So it's a more conservative approach than a direct MSTR investment?
Precisely. The ETF aims for a balance between income generation and capital appreciation. The fund details show it's actively managed with monthly distributions and trades on the NYSE Arca under the ticker IMST.
And what about the expense ratio? That's a crucial factor for investors.
The net expense ratio is 0.98%, which is relatively competitive within the ETF space. There's also a waiver in place to keep expenses below 0.95% until March 25, 2027.
That's good to know. Let's talk about the investment strategy in more detail. You mentioned it doesn't directly hold MSTR shares. How does it achieve exposure?
It uses a synthetic covered call strategy, leveraging options contracts to gain exposure to MSTR's price movements without directly owning the stock.
And the prospectus mentions that performance data is pending. What can investors expect in terms of returns?
Past performance is not indicative of future results. The strategy aims for monthly income, but the actual returns will depend on market conditions and MSTR's price movements. The portfolio managers have extensive experience in managing active funds and derivatives.
Speaking of the management team, who are the key players behind IMST?
The team includes experienced professionals with backgrounds at prominent firms like BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, and JP Morgan. Their expertise spans various aspects of finance, including derivatives trading, index fund management, and quantitative analysis.
Let's address the risks. The prospectus highlights several potential downsides. What are the most significant ones?
Market risk is inherent in any investment. The covered call strategy itself carries risks, as the premiums received might not offset potential losses from MSTR price declines. There are also risks specific to MSTR, including its significant holdings in Bitcoin and the regulatory uncertainties surrounding digital assets.
The document mentions custody risk and digital asset regulatory risk. Can you elaborate on those?
Custody risk relates to the security of MSTR's Bitcoin holdings, which are vulnerable to hacking and theft. Regulatory risk stems from the evolving regulatory landscape for digital assets, which could impact MSTR's operations and the value of its holdings. Concentration risk is another factor, as the fund's exposure is heavily concentrated in MSTR.
The ETF offers monthly distributions. How should investors interpret the distribution rate and the SEC yield?
The distribution rate is an annualized estimate based on the most recent distribution, while the 30-day SEC yield reflects the income earned after expenses. A portion of distributions may be a return of capital, which is important for investors to understand. Future distributions are not guaranteed and may vary significantly.
Let's clarify some terms. The prospectus includes a glossary. What are the key definitions investors should understand?
Understanding the difference between the distribution rate and the SEC yield is crucial. The distribution rate is a forward-looking estimate, while the SEC yield reflects past performance. Both are important but should be interpreted carefully.
Finally, tell us a bit about Bitwise Asset Management, the advisor behind this ETF.
Bitwise is a prominent crypto index fund manager with a strong track record and a team of experienced professionals. They offer a range of investment solutions, and their expertise in the crypto space adds a unique dimension to this ETF.
So in summary, the IMST ETF offers a unique approach to investing in MSTR, balancing income generation with managed risk. However, investors should carefully consider the associated risks before investing.
Absolutely. It's crucial to understand the investment strategy, the associated risks, and the fund's expense ratio before making any investment decisions.
That's a great discussion. Thank you for your insights.